Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining A Feast for Odin. A Feast for Odin is a game that feels like it came out a couple of years back. It says it's published in 2016. I don't feel like I got it to last year, 2017, and it's taken me a heck of a long time to actually get a video done for this. The reason it's taken so long to get this video done is I wanted to really get an essence of how to play the game. Now, I've heard podcasts, many podcasts about this game where people really know how to play the game and they fill up their board really quickly and they're able to do a whole bunch of extra stuff. And I've just been stuck in this pattern of just trying desperately to get the board filled. I wanted to get to the extra stuff in my own playing before I did the video. Now, I've had 5 games of it so far. What is this game about? Well, this is an Uwe Rosenberg game, so straight away we're thinking polyominoes, because this is really right in the essence of this polyomino tile thing that Uwe's been doing. I think that this is probably the strongest of his polyomino games, that it's just, it's real brain burner, it's really heavy, it's really thinky. I haven't looked up to see exactly where it lands on the heaviness factor on Board Game Geek, but I feel like it should be above a 4. If it's not, it's kind of in that ballpark. There's a lot going on, but not much going on at the same time. I think the weight of this game, the heaviness of this game, is because there's a board that tells you all the different things that you can do. On that board, there's a heap of things, absolute heck of a lot going on the board of things that you can do. They are in 4 columns. Each of those columns uses a different number of your meeples to be able to do the action. Some of them, if you fail the action, will then send some of the meeples back to you so you can reuse them later on. That's a really good thing. When you look at the game, you kind of think, there's so much there that you're probably not going to get in each other's way, and you know what you do? You get in each other's way. I've only played this game as a 2-player game. Once again, I would love to play this with more players, but I just haven't got to it for one reason or another. It plays up to 4 players total, but what I find is that with all of these things that you can do, there's still a bit of a path going on that you're going to follow to get the bits onto your board, to enable you to get more incomes, to enable you to do more stuff. There's a lot of thinking, but once you find that right path, you'll find that the same people will be going after these particular spots. And so if you can go before them, you'll be able to take that spot. The 3 and 4 spots, so the ones that take 3 or 4 of your meeples, they're used, but I find that they're not used as much, or at least in my games they haven't been used as much. They probably should be used more, which is probably why I've been in that position of, how do I get to doing all this other stuff? It's probably the 4 meeple spots. Just throwing that out there. Whenever you do one of those 3 or 4 meeple spots, there's other stuff that will happen automatically when you do that. In terms of, there's kind of cards that you have in your hand. So 3 enables you to pick an extra card up, 4 enables you to play cards down. So they give you extra stuff that you can do. But what I find is, because it's one of these games where you start with a certain number of guys, and each round you're adding to the number of meeples that you have to put out. So your ability to do the level 4 stuff that's going to take 4 of your meeples, while you can do that early on, doing that stops you from being able to do pretty much anything else. Later on, when you've got a lot of guys, you're able to do a lot of those 4-player things. I find this a real brain-burning game. I think that it is hard to set up because there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a tray or 2 trays that have the bits in it, so the things that you're trying to get live in these trays, and it actually makes a lot more sense having them in these trays as a lead up, because what you're doing is you can get one thing, and then say that's a green thing, which is a vegetable, you can turn that into a meat of the same size. You can turn that meat then into a product of the same size. You can turn that product into a weapon of the same size. I may be mispronouncing that or missaying what the things are, but it's basically you're upping the value of the thing. Once you're up in those values, you can then put them onto your board or onto boards that you have that will enable you to take spaces and fill up more space. But you have to fill it up from the bottom left corner if you're going to cover up the income. The more of that you filled up, the more income you get. There's so much going on with this game. It's a wonderful game. I find this a really hard game, a tough game to think through. And especially when you're playing it, there's a lot of downtime while you're just staring at the board thinking, because there's so many items you can do. The turns themselves actually take, there's 12 different elements that go into making up a turn. Only one of those elements actually takes time. It's number 5. It's the one where you're choosing from the board, basically choosing your player placements and what you're going to get back from that. The rest of it can all happen at the same time and will happen relatively quickly. But level 5, number 5, takes a heck of a lot of time. So having this board of marking where you're up to, what you're doing, is not a bad thing. It's a good idea to have that there. And there's the beauty of this game, I think, and I haven't explored every element that can go into this, but the beauty of the game, I feel, is that you could take different parts as your Vikings and end up with scores that are kind of really close to each other. And I think that's a really good design. It's a really good, wonderful way to play. If you are someone who actually likes heavy games, I think you should own Feast for Odin. I think you should play Feast for Odin. I think it is one of the games that should be on everyone's tables at least once every now and then, and coming off the shelf every now and then. It is only for 4 players, so if you have groups that are getting together that are bigger than 4 players, you're going to really struggle to get this guy out. If you have groups of 4 or less, then great. This is a really good, solid game for you to get your teeth into, and it's going to take a fair while to play. It's suggesting it's about a half hour per player. The full game is 7 turns, so you've actually only got 7 turns or 7 rounds, if you will, or 7 times through that set of 12 things to be able to do what you need to do. And so having that real heavy limit on it makes it hard for you to move forward, and you've only got 7 times to send all you guys out. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a heck of a lot of stuff going on. Look, if you want to know more about this game, please go on and watch my Gamesplay and Gamesplanation videos. I've come to a point where I'm only trying to do 1 for each game. This one required the 2. The first video goes through what you're actually going to do, so the 12 things that you can do on your turn. The second video goes through that level 5. So what does this board mean? What are the things that I'm heading towards in this board? So please go on and watch them, see what you think. Let me know what you think. If you really love this game, let me know below, comment below. If you dislike it, let me know why. What do you dislike about this game? There's so much thinking going on. It's really up my alley. I really do like this game. Look, I'll leave it there. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you wish to be gamesplayed, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.